Hi guys, so for today's video I am going to be doing a TBR video for two readathons that I will be participating in January. They are basically taking place the same week, just 2 days apart, so I figured I would just combine the TBRs because I'm basically going to have to actually combine the books anyway. So the first readathon is the Winter Biannual Bibliothon, which will be happening from the 12th to the 18th, I think. And then the second one is the Buzzword Readathon, which will be happening from the 14th to the 20th. I think. If you follow me on Twitter, you may have seen that I was having like this great crisis of whether I should participate in the Bibliothon or the Buzzword Readathon because I really wanted to participate in both, and so I decided I'd just participate in both instead of choosing one over the other. My greatest issue with the fact that they're happening on the same week is that I wanted to vlog both of them, but like I can't post two vlogs that are happening simultaneously, so I'll have to just combine them, which is gonna bother me, but what can you do? Anyways, let's just get started with my TBR, starting off with the Biannual Bibliothon. So the first challenge is to read the group book, which is Empress of All Seasons by Emiko Jean. Possibly. This is the first book in a fantasy series that takes place in this country, I guess, where every generation there's this competition to find the next empress. So during the competition you have to survive the palace's enchanted seasonal rooms, so you have to conquer winter, spring, summer, and fall, and then whoever like survives becomes the empress. Everyone is eligible to compete in this except for the yokai, I think is how you say it. And they are these like mythical monsters. So we follow a girl who has been training her whole life to compete in this, but she has this very dark secret, and that is that she is a yokai and she has to keep it hidden in order to try and become the empress. This is not a book that I would have probably picked up on my own, but because it is part of the challenge I figured I'd give it a try. I do really like the cover though, but yeah, the plot seems like it might be a very like traditional fantasy story, but we'll see how it goes. Challenge 2 is to read one of the host's 5-star reads, and I have actually read 3 out of 6 of these books, which is very shocking because usually I've never heard of any of the books that people pick. Out of the 3 left, there was only one that I really wanted to read, so I figured it must be fate, and that is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Everyone has been talking about this book on BookTube, and I'm pretty sure it has never gotten less than a 4-star rating ever. I've never heard a bad thing about this book, so hopefully I'm not like really setting myself up for failure by setting my expectations way too high, but yeah, I'm pretty excited to read this book. Challenge 3 is to read a book that got you into reading. Now for most people I feel like they're either going to pick something like Harry Potter or The Hunger Games or something like that, but I got into reading when I was much younger. I think I was around 8 years old or so, and that was when I would read chapter books. So if I'm going to truly complete this challenge, that means I have to go way back when and read one of the chapter books that got me into reading, and that sounds like a pretty fun and nostalgic time. I won't be adding that book to like my Goodreads challenge because that feels like I'm cheating just a little bit, but I will read it for this challenge because that's the books that got me into reading, her chapter books, usually about fairies, so I'm not sure which one exactly I'm going to read, but like I said, I'll be vlogging this whole thing, so we'll find out then. Challenge 4 is to read a book from the adult genre, so for this I'll be doubling up and reading The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Challenge 5 is to combine your favorite genre with your least favorite format, or vice versa. So if I understand this challenge correctly, it's like if your least favorite format is audiobooks, but your favorite genre is sci-fi, then you would listen to a sci-fi audiobook. Or the opposite, if your favorite format is audiobooks, but you don't like sci-fi, then you read a sci-fi audiobook. So for this, my least favorite format is graphic novels, but one of my favorite genres is horror. So I decided to pick up Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. I think this is like a collection of short horror stories in the graphic novel format. I have heard pretty good things about this book, but like I said, I've just never really been a fan of graphic novels, so we'll see how I like this book or not. Challenge 6 is to read a book with a cover you don't like, and for this I'll be reading We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I just hate this cover. I don't know who picked it. I mean, I guess maybe once I know it's like relevance to the story, because I also don't know what the story is about, but I assume somehow the cover is relevant to it, but for now I don't like it at all. And finally, challenge 7 is to read a book by an author you've never read before, and any one of these books could count for it because I've never read any of these authors before. Now moving on to my TBR for the Buzzword Readathon. So if you don't know what that Readathon is, it basically just has one challenge, and that is each round there's a certain buzzword, so you have to pick books with that word in the title. This time around, the buzzword is lie or liars or lying or anything like that. So the first book I picked for that is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Since obviously these readathons are overlapping, I had to have at least one book fit for both challenges or readathons. So yeah, I'll be reading this one again, and this is pretty short, so hopefully I should get through it relatively quickly. And then the second book I'd like to get to for the Buzzword Readathon is Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty, which is a thriller novel. It's a domestic thriller that I've also heard nothing but really great things about, so I'm pretty excited to pick it up. This one is not as small, so we'll see how that goes. This is my TBR for the Biannual Bibliothon and the Buzzword Readathon. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!
You hear that, Samson?